The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It happens on lonely roads, across America, across the world. A driver, cruising down a dark highway, sees a figure standing at the roadside, usually a young woman, pale, trembling, wearing clothes that seem, somehow, out of time. She raises her hand, asking for a ride. The driver slows down, pulls over, and something in him, some instinct, tells him to help. She looks frightened, lost. Maybe she's been walking for hours. He opens the door, and she slides into the passenger seat. The car fills with a strange cold, the kind that doesn't come from the air conditioning. She smells faintly of flowers, or maybe rain, or maybe something older, something that doesn't belong to this world. She gives him an address, just a few words, soft, almost whispered. He starts driving again, glancing at her occasionally, trying to make conversation. But her answers are distant, vague, like she's not really there, even though he can see her, even though he can feel that unnatural cold radiating from her skin. Then they arrive. The house is dark, old, the kind of place that looks like it hasn't seen life in years. He turns to her to tell her they've arrived, and the seat is empty. No sound of a door opening, no footsteps, no nothing, just gone, like she was never there at all. But the cold lingers. He sits there, heart pounding, trying to make sense of what just happened. Then he gets out, walks to the house, and knocks on the door. An old woman answers, or maybe a man, someone who looks like they've been carrying a weight for a very long time. He describes the young woman, her appearance, her clothes, the address she gave him, and the person at the door. Their face changes. Something breaks behind their eyes. "That was my daughter," they say. "She died 5 years ago on this road, or 10 years, or 20. The number changes, but the story doesn't. A girl, driving home from a dance, or walking home from school, or coming back from seeing her boyfriend, lost control of the car, or was hit by another car, or simply vanished one night, and was found days later, dead, on the side of the road. And every year, on the anniversary of her death, she appears, asking for a ride home. This legend has been documented since the 1930s, maybe earlier. Folklorists have collected thousands of accounts, from every state in America, from every corner of the world. In England, they call her the Phantom Hitchhiker. In France, Autostoppus Phantom. In Germany, Das Geist Autostop. The details shift, but the core remains the same. The figure, appearing on a lonely road, asking for help, and then vanishing without a trace. Some say it's a ghost, a spirit trapped between worlds, unable to move on, reliving the moment of her death over and over, trying to get home. Others say it's something darker, something that wears the shape of a lost girl, to lure drivers off the road, into the trees, into the dark. And then there are those who say it's not supernatural at all, that it's a trick, a con, a way to get into someone's car, to get close, to do harm. But that doesn't explain the cold. That doesn't explain why, when drivers investigate, they always find the same story. a daughter, a son, a lover, someone who died on that road, on that date. It doesn't explain why. Sometimes, when the driver returns to their car, they find the seat is wet, like someone sat there, crying. Or why, sometimes, they find flowers on the seat, fresh flowers, the kind you leave at a grave. Let me tell you about one account from 1973. A college student driving home for Thanksgiving on a back road in Illinois. It was late, maybe midnight. The road was empty. Just him and the dark and the occasional pair of headlights in the distance. He saw her, standing at the shoulder, maybe a quarter-mile ahead. She was wearing a white dress, the kind of dress you'd wear to a dance. Her hair was long, dark, flowing in the wind even though there wasn't much wind that night. He slowed down, pulled over, and she approached the car. She was beautiful, pale. Her eyes were sad, not frightened, just sad, like she'd been carrying something heavy for a very long time. "Can you give me a ride?" she asked. Her voice was soft, barely above a whisper. "Sure," he said. "Where are you headed?" She gave him an address, a house, maybe 2 miles down the road. He started driving, and she sat quietly, looking out the window. He tried to make conversation. "Cold night," he said. She nodded. "Yes." "You waiting long?" "A while." "Where were you before this?" She didn't answer right away. Then, "A dance." "Oh yeah? Whose dance?" "Mine." He glanced at her. She was smiling now, but it didn't reach her eyes. They drove in silence for a while. Then she said, "This is where it happened." "Where what happened?" But she didn't answer. She just looked out the window, at the dark trees, at the empty road, at nothing. Then, they arrived at the house. He pulled into the driveway, turned to her, and she was gone. No sound, no movement, just empty. He sat there, heart racing, trying to understand. Then he got out, walked to the house, and knocked. A man answered, mid-50s, tired eyes. "Can I help you?" I just gave your daughter a ride." The man's face changed. "What did you say?" "I picked her up, down the road. She was wearing a white dress. She said she was coming home from a dance." The man grabbed the doorframe, like he needed something to hold on to. "My daughter died 10 years ago, on this road. She was coming home from her prom, when a truck crossed the center line." He couldn't finish. The student stood there, not knowing what to say, what to do. "She comes back," the man finally said. "Every year, on the anniversary, she tries to get home." The student left, drove away, and never took another hitchhiker again. There are variations, of course. Sometimes it's a man, not a woman. Sometimes it's an old person, not a young girl. Sometimes the driver doesn't go to the house, doesn't find out the truth, just feels that cold, that emptiness, and drives away, shaken, changed. Sometimes the hitchhiker leaves something behind, a scarf, a book, a photograph, and sometimes the driver finds out, days later, that the item belongs to someone who died years ago. In some versions, The hitchhiker warns the driver. "Don't drive too fast," she says. "The road is dangerous tonight." And the driver, ignoring her, speeds off and crashes and dies on that very road. In other versions, the hitchhiker is a test of kindness, of compassion, of whether you'll stop for someone in need, even when it's dark, even when it's late, even when every instinct tells you to keep driving. And if you pass the test, if you stop, if you help, she vanishes, leaving you with a story and a coldness that never quite goes away. What do you think? Is it a ghost? A spirit trapped in a loop, reliving her final journey? Over and over, unable to reach her destination? Is it something else? Something that wears the shape of the dead to feed on the living? Or is it just a story, a legend passed down through generations, evolving, adapting, becoming part of the landscape itself? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is this: the next time you're driving on a dark road, on a lonely night, and you see a figure standing at the shoulder, pale, trembling, asking for help, what will you do? Will you stop, or will you drive on and wonder for the rest of your life what would have happened if you had? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, if you felt that chill, that sense of something just beyond the edge of sight, subscribe and join us in the shadows, because the road is long and the night is dark, and you never know who might be waiting for a ride home.